and then
oh yeah,
together. So
well, also, folks out there, if you ask your librarian, we have resources, school library services. So some of those things that I showed you, I have little screencasts that take you through individual parts of Sora. So if you wanted to dig deeper, you could go visit my screencast. There's one that tells you exactly how to log on. There's one that tells you how to do note taking. There's one that gives you the ins and outs of different features of Sora. And like I said, reach out to your librarian because they know too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and you just did a webinar on Sora, correct?
I did for librarians. So that is a webinar that's also available on our website. Or if you need me to, we could absolutely, let's see, do we add students individually? What chances are no? What district are you from? Because in most districts, they already have Hadley Luzerne. Ah, okay, so you're one of the few who is not yet Google authenticated. So reach out to Michaela, but also CC me, because we can help you with your logins for your students. We are working with Hadley Luzerne as we speak to get you Google authenticated. So I'm hoping in a couple of days you'll be Google authenticated, and then that will be a total game changer. But chances are they're already added because of their library accounts. Like when they go check out books in the library, they have accounts that connect to Sora.
Awesome. All right. You want to mention this one as well?
Yeah, so again, talk to your librarians, because one of the things that we've been talking about as librarians is reading doesn't have to be just books. You have access to all kinds of stuff already through your districts. And some of it is actually, a lot of it is simultaneous access that would allow you to have reading, listening with your students, but it might be in a different form. So, did you know you have access to many resources already through databases? A lot of the people I see on here, chances are your librarian maintains a portal kind of like the one you see on the screen there, which is great, because if they do, then your students only need to know one word to get into any of it. And chances are the word is look. If your district is a Follett district in terms of their libraries, your librarians may have a different way of getting in. If you're Ballston Spa, I know that they get in through ClassLink, which is also awesome. And I think that's going to be the direction eventually that districts will move in, is using platforms such as ClassLink to give kids access, partly for security, but partly for ease of access as well. So you have all kinds of databases and ebooks and things like that in there. They're already vetted. They're already compliant. If that's something you think about, like EdLaw 2D, they're already compliant. They've been vetted. We know they're good. You don't have to worry about if they're compliant. And they promote different kinds of digital literacy skills, which is great. I just totally stumbled over that word literacy.
It's not like you say it 7 times a day, right?
Right?
Awesome.
Yeah, so here's some examples of things that you have available to you.
Great.
My daughter's telling me I'm too loud.
My kids are both sleeping still too, so.
Mine's on a Google Meet right above my head.
There you go. So Epic is one that I've been hearing a lot about. I've certainly seen it used in classrooms too. They do have 40,000 books that are totally for free. I included a slide deck so you can learn more about how to use it. They also are starting, which I don't know why they're using Facebook for it, but they're doing a Facebook Live video series. So that's something to tell your parents if they want to get on and let kids see the books. This one, I would recommend that if you create student accounts at this point, put in like a nickname or a fake name or something, because they are not on the approved list yet for, with EdLaw 2D and compliance. So a great resource, just be careful in how you use it. I have a feeling somewhere down the line it'll be okay, but at this point it's not. Right now, Audible has opened up their entire platform for free for students. So just like you had the ebooks and the audiobooks in Sora, Audible is now saying, here, use ours. So as long as you're a student with a student account, you can create an account and use Audible. Students do have to create an account, so it's something that you could offer as an option. It's not something you can require your students to do. But Audible's great. I've used it for books before. They offer a lot of free books. In general, even if you don't actually pay for the platform, but it has a lot of great books for students to read. Scholastic right now is offering everything for free as well. So I gave you the link to that. Just click on the picture. It will take you there. But Scholastic has some, and you know this, it has some rich material that's great for your students to read, and articles that really are relatable for students to engage with. I always used, I think it was the, Storyworks, I think was the one I used to use in my classroom for Scholastic. I always enjoyed it. I mentioned this already with Wenderopolis. It has all these built-in components to it. It does have Immersive Reader built in. Students love it to use it for research and to find out information. This is a great one for you to use with your students. Newsela. I showed you Newsela really quick at the beginning where I showed you Immersive Reader, but right now this is normally a very expensive paid platform that very few schools have, and there are some in our area that do, but it's a great platform. I used to use this in my class all the time because you can search by topics, you can look at historical documents, you can look at current events, you can narrow down the Lexile level to be at whatever level your students are at, which really makes it accessible for a lot of students. Usually what I used to have to do is the quizzes that were built in, I'd have to rewrite the quizzes, but now they're all open for you to use, which is great. So you can have them do the little quiz and kind of give you a grade. You can set up a student dashboard and so on with it. So Newsela is a great one to have. And if you want the Immersive Reader, use the Chrome extension with it. It does work. Some other ebooks, you guys mentioned Tumble Books, Oxford Owl, Stories for Kids, Loyal Books, Loving Books. These are all great resources for you to have for your students. Up to you how you use them. Karen, you have anything you want to add there? I know Tumble Books, a lot of the schools have already.
Yes. So Tumble Books, it's great because some of you who may have used Epic, Tumble Books is similar, but it's subscription based. It is, I think, open for free right now if folks want to look into it. But depending on what district you're from, chances are your district may already get it, and it might be with your librarian's databases. And Tumble Books is fantastic. I would say it's one of those that my special ed trained brain, because my first master's in special ed, I love Tumble Books because they're read-alongs with tracking. So, it's like follow the dancing ball. And it's a little bit animated, and they have storybooks, they have nonfiction, they have songs, they have some National Geographic videos, there's nonfiction in there. There's quite a variety. It's not just picture books. I've seen where foreign language teachers use Tumble Books, not just because there are some books there in other languages, but also just in terms of fluency and things like that. And it's easy. Tumble Books is super easy to use.
Yeah, I remember when my kids were young, there was a book, I don't even remember what the name of the book was, but it was a P, and it was like all the healthy foods he loved and all the bad for you foods he didn't like, and my kids thought it was hysterical. So.
Yeah, and a lot of them are trade books that you would recognize too.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're great.
Yeah, so
very interactive.
Yeah.
All right. So kind of shifting to Tumble Books is kind of like Karen said, they do read aloud, but they're you're kind of following along on the ebook. But there's ones that are truly read aloud books. And we always feel like nervous when we hear of all these people that are reading books online, like you hear people doing bedtime stories with their principal or whatever on Facebook. But a lot of companies have opened that up as an okay way to read books right now because of the situation that we're in. So I gave you a link to the article, and Karen actually found the article. So kudos to Karen, where each of the publishers kind of goes through, this is what you're allowed to do. But the big key points, and jump in, Karen, if I miss something, but the big key points is don't put it on teacher pay teachers, don't try to profit from it. Make sure that you follow their guidelines on their books. It's really good if you're reading a book aloud to interject once in a while. So throw in your kind of moment, or did you notice, or something like that. So it's not a true, I'm reading the story from beginning to end. What else did I miss, Karen?
They prefer closed platforms. So if you're putting it on Google Classroom, great.
Yeah. So don't put it on YouTube, on your YouTube channel for everyone to see, but you can put it on YouTube and put it unlisted so your students have a link to it. So it's really just for them. Awesome. Right. So some of our favorite read aloud Storyline Online is famous people reading books. Actually, I just saw Twitter where Ernest, how do you say his last name? Borgnine? Is that
Ernest Borgnine?
Borgnine, that's it.
Yeah.
He's passed, but they were posting that he had done a book for them, and they're like, it's great. I think he did the fish one, Rainbow Fish. So they were saying, hey, this is a great one if you haven't read this with your kids yet to try out. Books, they were offering it free for teachers for a year, but I think they've kind of opened it up more since things have happened. But it brings to life, very much like Tumble Books, it brings chapter books to life. World Book Day has some great read-alouds that were put together for World Book Day. Storytime from Space is actually from the International Space Station. They have astronauts floating in air, but reading the stories out loud. And then Owl Books has some great ones too, which I think I had on the other slide. So I did it twice on there. A couple of celebrity and author ones. So Dolly Parton, I'm going to play hers because it's a cute little video.
Hello, I'm Dolly Parton, the book lady from the Imagination Library. I want you to join me April the 2nd when I start Good Night with Dolly. I'm going to be reading some stories from the Imagination Library.
So I love that Dolly's doing this, but she started this last night. I listened in a little bit. She did the little engine that could. I mean, with her voice, where she's talking about the chugging noises, it was great. So highly recommended. It's on Twitter or on YouTube once a week at 7. Other authors are doing read aloud, so I'll just start at the beginning of Grace Lynn's here.
Hi, everyone. I'm children's book author and illustrator Grace Lynn. I'm the author and illustrator of picture books like this, A Big Mooncake for Little Star. And I'm also the author and illustrator of novels like this, Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. What I thought I would do today is share with you a little bit from my newest novel, Mulan, Before the Sword. This is actually an original prequel novel to the live-action Mulan movie that Disney is putting out. So if you read this book, you will kind of learn the secret backstories of some of the characters in the movie, and you'll also kind of get a hint of what's going to happen in the movie too.
All right, so she goes on and starts reading her book a little bit. So lots of authors are doing this for us right now. There are already some great lists that have been put out for this, so I didn't want to list them all here. Purnell Rip has a website that lists them. Logan from Glens Falls has put together a great one for us. The Live Bits, I don't know if you know her, name is Olivia. She's 11 or 12 years old, but she contacted a bunch of authors and they put together this list of amazing authors that are doing read alouds and the hours and the links to it. So it's there for you. Author Share, which was, I think it was We Are Teachers put this one out with a lot of it. And then Kate Messner has a great list of read aloud. So click on those links, explore. Some teachers have started to put together calendars, which I think I have one out on my reading resources page of where they all are, but there's just so many. It's hard to figure out a great way to kind of compile it together without it being like, oh my gosh, there's so much. Another favorite, and actually I think it's on Logan's and the Live Bits one, Mo Willems every day at noon through the Kennedy Center. He's doing where you can learn to, he reads his books, the pigeon books, and he draws and he teaches the students how to draw. And then he's giving them challenges on things that they can do at home. So, and then you can submit your drawings back and that sort of thing. So I've heard parents are loving that one. So that's been a great one. Have you heard anything, Karen, with the read alouds?
Basically the ones that you've mentioned. I mean, anyone who says they're doing a read aloud or some sort of drawing or anything like that, it sounds like they're all amazing. And for you folks, you know, in these crazy times, reading aloud, particularly on a closed platform like Google Classroom, that is absolutely an option.
Yeah, definitely. So there are some other great resources to support reading. The first one is one of my favorites. You'll hear me talk about Bunce a lot. And I put together a bunch of links out to examples of people that are doing some pretty cool activities with Bunce. If you've never used it, think of it like Google Slides and Pic Collage and Canva and Adobe Spark and PowerPoint, all kind of mixed in together on this really engaging platform. I call it your ultimate creation tool. It's very kid friendly. It's all through images. So any kid from kindergarten all the way up can use the platform. They're offering it for free right now. Normally it's a paid platform. You're only allowed to make 3 buncies, as they call them. But now it's open for everyone to use. And what it does is it has animations. It allows students to add video and their voice. It has immersive reader built in, so you can create these different activities. So I'm going to show you a couple of them. I'm not going to show you all of them. If you have this slide deck, you have all of them anyway. But this is one that a librarian put together called You've Been Virtually Booked. And if you don't know Shannon McClintock, she's amazing. Follow her on Twitter. She's like Shannon M. Miller or I said McClintock, but it's Miller on Facebook. So Shannon put this together, and it says, have fun reading all these capstone interactive ebooks in this week's You've Been Virtually Booked list. Click on any ebook cover and log in. And that's what they use, my capstone library. And print off this Bunce or make a copy of your own. Use the purple dots to mark what you've read. So the students are going to click on the book link that you see up on the top here. They go out to it. Once they've read it, they're going to add a check within the Bunce platform, or if they printed it, to say, yes, I read this book. So she gives them a bunch of books to read throughout the week, and then they can read the different books there. Another great one for your real littles, there's a Learn the Alphabet Bunce. So not as much reading as much as letter writing, but on each page, so here's A is for alligator, B is for, and it shows all of the different words, so students can go through and read the different words on the page, or you can take a blank copy of this and you can create your own, so you can see how that kind of works throughout, and the kids can create their own alphabet books. Create your own bookmark is here, some writing journals. Here's a sample book idea, one that I thought was really cool, that it's the Little Band That Could. There's a little QR code that you can scan, so this kind of comes to life for you. And then you can see some information. As you see, as I hover over, I can see the what I can click on to hear it, or I can click on the link and actually hear it brings me out to the video, or I can press play. You never know. And they put a little music on there. So it's a pretty interactive kind of book. So it says, click on the music note to listen, to just say hi, and then it'll play the song. So there's some already made interactive ones. There's some book talks, some book reviews. The What Are You Reading one is super fun too. I'm going to pull that one. So this is What is Mrs. Q reading? So she says what she's reading. She records all about it. And then you scan the Bunce code to check out her whole book talk, and then she encourages students to create their own book talk. This happens to be a librarian who put this together for her students, where she sends these out fairly often, so they can talk about reading different books. So those are just some great resources for you on that one. Karen, has there been any questions, or has it been super quiet out there?
It's been kind of quiet. Someone did ask a really good question about logins, usernames and passwords. Is it okay to share school district logins and passwords for things like Tumble Books? Absolutely. I mean, the main thing is don't post them on a public website, but you can email them. You can, if you have a print packet that's going home to students, it can be on that within your Google Classroom. That's absolutely totally fine. We want the people in your district to know those usernames and passwords to be able to access products. And if you're a BOCES person, definitely reach out to me if you have any questions about what those are, although chances are they involve something like WishWe.
Yeah, definitely. And somebody asked if Newsela is free. It is right now. Typically, it's a very expensive platform to have. Not that they don't give you some articles for free, but to have the full platform, it is pretty expensive typically. I've always used the free one. There was always enough on there for me to be able to use it. And it was great because with that one, with Newsela, you were able to print them too. So if I had students that weren't able to use their devices or needed something printed versus online, I could print any of their articles as a PDF, which was always a nice feature for me. So that was Bunce. I have one more to show you, and this one is Nearpod. Again, if you know me at all, Bunce and Nearpod are two that I talk about an awful lot. But Nearpod has those Newsela articles that we were talking about. It has actual full lessons built around the articles. And typically you'd have to pay for Nearpod and you'd have to pay for Newsela for that to happen. But right now, both of these companies are offering their platforms for free. You do have to sign up on Nearpod. If you go to nearpod.com/coronavirus, you fill out a form. It's about a 24-hour turnaround before you get access to the platform. But you can have it for free right now to try out. Cricket is built in. I learned this one yesterday. Common knowledge. Language Arts, I believe it's called. I'd never heard of CKLA, but they have some already made great lessons. Do you know that one, Karen? Maybe not. The Big Word Club is for your real littles. They do different vocabulary activities. Learn Zillion, you've probably heard of. Max Scholar. Aussie Media. Aussie sometimes is blocked in schools because it's very high end for like teenagers. So sometimes the content might be something that's not allowed. So check with your district on that one. It has Quill built in. ReadWorks articles, somebody mentioned they use ReadWorks. Nearpod has full lessons around those ReadWorks one. And then for your SAT prep, they have vocabulary cartoons for your high schoolers. So Nearpod has these all built in. If I click on one, like for example, I click on ReadWorks just to kind of show you one, it's going to open up my lesson library and it's going to show me all of the different lessons in here. That are for ReadWorks. So it starts right at the 12th grade level and it's going to go all the way down to the kindergarten level as I go down. So here's like a kindergarten one, the grasshoppers on here. So it has for every level. I can narrow it down. Let's say I'm a third grade teacher. I can say I only want to look at third grade and it's going to show me only the lessons within third grade. So you can choose how you want to break that down and kind of look at it. And you could say, I only want English language arts and do the same. So all of these lessons are already kind of built into the platform. But they've made these collaborations with these other companies. So if you're doing something with reading and you're not just reading a chapter book and you want to actually do a lesson around something, more specific or more honed in on a idea, there's some great resources for you in Nearpod. The last one I'm going to share with you is SeeSaw. Now, people have been asking me with the red yellow list for EdLaw 2D. And the last I heard, SeeSaw right now is still in the yellow, but it looks like they're getting aligned to be in the green. So I feel very confident that going forward we'll be okay with SeeSaw. But check with your district on whether or not it's something you're allowed to use. Both Nearpod and Bunce are in the green, so you're good with those. So SeeSaw, if you go into their activity library, they have thousands of lessons that are already made by the community, which are teachers. So here I went into reading. There are 10,000 different lessons that have to do with reading. I can narrow this down. Maybe I'm only looking at first grade. So here I have 5,000 lessons. So half of those lessons were first grade level. And I can pull any of these lessons and use them. And they're great. They're interactive. They're fun for kids. They get them showcasing what they know, which is great to have. And I pulled the reading, I pulled the ELA and the writing activities just so you can see the different libraries. But you certainly can get on this platform and play around with it. So all grades, English language arts, here's 17,000 different lessons. Let's say I was looking at sixth grade. I've got 819 different lessons that are related to English language arts that I can use that are probably really good. The other nice thing about the community in the activity library is they give you ideas as far as what's trending. And right now you can see some of the favorite ones that that teachers have been using that are popular. So I'm in kindergarten, but if I go into all, I can see right now a lot of language users, but there's an animal research one, Pete the Cat. So you can see some different things that teachers are actually doing from home because these are the ones that are most active right now on their platform. So that is SeeSaw. So I'm going to open it up to questions because we just shared a ton of information with you. I see Karen put her email in there as well. I'll put mine in again because I'm sure mine got buried in there. So if you want to get on our newsletters, just email me. I'll make sure and add you to the s'more. Karen, other questions?
How do we share SeeSaw with students?
So on SeeSaw, you have, and I did a whole webinar. I've done several actually webinars now on SeeSaw, and I'm happy to do another because I've already had a request for another one. You create your accounts for your students using the home-based learning codes that they have. So that way none of the students see each other's work. So they can log in using a digit code that gets them into your class.
Perfect.
Yes. Any other questions? Oh, Dave Pilkey is doing through Scholastic as well. That's awesome. Great.
I love Dave Pilkey.
Yeah, how could you not? Actually, I didn't put that Bunce out there. There's one of the who would win the Pallotta. What's his name? Jerry.
Oh, Jerry Pallotta.
That's it. There's a who will win Bunce going around where students are actually deciding for themselves. And I sat in on a Jerry Pallotta. He was talking with Dan Gutman, and there was another author. I can't remember off the top of my head who it was, but they were talking about their writing process and what makes them think. And Dan Gutman was really funny. He's like, you know what I think Jerry should do next is he should do a new series saying who would lose and go right back through all of those and tell the story from the other side, which I thought was a cool idea. Maybe that's something that students could do. They could take it and flip his story, but do it the other way. I thought that was fun. Awesome. So with SeeSaw, you don't have to add them individually. You can bring them in through Classroom and make it really easy to just connect those two. Any final questions, thoughts? Does Wish we have a Big Word Club account, or do we create one? No, we don't do that.
Have one.
So the Big Word Club ones, if you use Nearpod, you can just use them. You don't have to have an account for that. It's built right into the platform, and Nearpod right now is free. Yeah. Any other questions? I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's always nice to hear. Now I'm going to have to go back and redo the whole first half of the thing because I forgot to record. But I will post this second half that I did record onto this more. I'll go back and do the first half and kind of splice them together. I can do that. And then if you have any questions going forward, please reach out. We're happy to help you.
Absolutely.
All right. Have a fabulous day, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.